Welcome back. Palantir has recently released some new videos for Foundry for Builders. We have one that just came out just a few minutes ago as I'm recording this, but also one with Alex Karp that seems to now want to reload. That is actually very interesting, pretty short. We haven't heard much from Alex, so I do want to play that one first, but let's just step back and remember that on October 6th, Palantir opened up its Foundry for Builders to the second cohort for 10 more early stage companies. I covered this back then. Very important because they are now moving past that original set of alumni companies. And one of these companies, let's see which one, Elementis is actually a blockchain company. So now the reason I bring this up is that Lisa Gordon, who is, let me just make sure I get this right, head of global communications at Palantir, actually tweeted in her announcement of this on October 7th, so the day after, highlighting the blockchain, of course, company. Now, why is that important? Well, Palantir, we know, a very forward-thinking company interested in blockchain technology, how they can build on top of it, how they can incorporate it into their balance sheet, what sorts of technologies they can inspire from their operating system for the modern enterprise. I just think it is so great to finally have one of these companies in their portfolio, so to speak. Foundry for Builders will continue to expand, of course. We will see more cohorts into the future until I believe Palantir is able to drop the alumni name or need to be an alumni company and allow just any startup to be able to use Foundry for Builders. So here is Alex Karp on the subject. His mannerisms are mesmerizing. Great to hear from him, of course. Take a listen.
We salute you, the builders, the entrepreneurs, the outsiders who are grabbing your tech arms and organizing yourself to change your world, our world for the better. We know at Palantir that you will face enormous barriers, that the armies of bureaucrats, misaligned experts, backward-looking bureaucrats, and false friends will somehow conspire to slow down and stifle your innovation, preventing the rest of us from profiting from your world-changing technologies. One of the most important, if not the most important way to fight back against the reification of our society based on cliches of a past that may have worked but is not always working in the present is with speed. Entrepreneurs and their products that succeed must be 10 to 100x better than what's on the market. And must be, as importantly, 10 to 100x faster in building and innovating than any other normal company. We salute and support those of you who are pushing back, disrupting, and changing the world for a better place, standing up for your beliefs, even if they're not popular with anyone in your family or friends, because you know that the way to change the world is to be resolute and build new things. We are providing you with Foundry. In our experience in recent days, companies like you are able to build your platform on top of Foundry and disrupt 10 to 100x faster than you would normally be able to do. And we are going to salute you in your efforts in the only way we know how, which is showing up and delivering. Thank you for being our partners, and we look forward to saluting you and your changes in the future.
So there, Alex Karp saying, we salute you as users of our product and, of course, being on the front lines with testing out this product and being some of the first to be able to give feedback back to Palantir so they can make it better in the future for other companies. So I'm trying to get a figure on the number of startups in the world. It's not coming out so well, but for some reason Google wants to give 12,000 fintech startups. And so let's just go off of that for some reason. I don't know why we would, but we'll just say 12,000, and we'll say how about only 10% of these actually succeed. So we'll divide the number by 10. That gives us around approximately 1,000. Let's round down. We'll say 1,000 that would be eligible, have enough cash, be solvent enough to be able to use Palantir's Foundry for Builders. So considering Palantir only has a few hundred commercial, and again, I say only a few, but this is a very large number when you're talking about the value of the contracts combined. But look, this Foundry for Builders could actually be 5 times as large in just a very rough estimate of the number of companies out there that would be eligible, so to speak, for Foundry for Builders. So just wanted to tack that on in the end there. Great that they're using AC/DC, and I just love listening to Karp. So I have one more video clip for you. This one is longer. If you've already seen it, you can skip right through, but I will be back with some more thoughts at the end, and this is Foundry for Builders, Supercharging Startup Growth. Here it is.
Foundry for Builders is putting in the hands of these entrepreneurs the best technology that exists from an earlier point in that company's life cycle. The ability to help a company go from 0 to 1 faster with kind of enterprise grade technology on day 1 or year 1 versus year 10 is huge.
It's been so energizing working with these young companies alongside creative and mission critical founders who are trying to solve real world type of problems.
We help older Americans find and enroll in the right Medicare plan for them. The challenge of retiring is hard enough, and we don't want there to be any additional stress or worry when people have to make this really identity-provoking transition point. There are a lot of data challenges, data integration, data management, data access challenges.
Our mission as a company, we really believe in blockchain technology and all the applications it could have, democratizing and emancipating things like the financial network, records and identity management, medical records, supply chains, things like that. So we want to help proliferate that technology. But if it can't be trusted and audited, it's very hard for people to adopt it.
We are at the start of a very long journey, but it's clear where that journey is going to lead, which is to enormous, vast scaled data and very, very rapid asynchronous call transactions. So we want to build the foundation now that will allow us to grow.
So, we're always constantly thinking of what is the best place to store data, how do we index it, how do we access it in a way that makes it most performant for our users.
Anytime a new data set is updated, I don't worry that there's some issue with the pipeline because the Foundry pipelines work and there's monitoring and alerting built in, so I don't have to worry, I'll get notified. Anytime I have a question around what's going on in this part of the business, I can just pull up the report or dashboard we've set up for that. And so I have to bother my team less, I think, than I would otherwise have to. We can really easily understand whether there is a lot of heterogeneity in plan in a particular geography or on a particular contour, and then that allows us to focus our energy for building our product in places where it's going to add the most value.
We had a big gaping hole in our capabilities. The bank that we partnered with in Norway, we weren't able to replicate it immediately here in the UK, and so we needed to move fast, but we needed to replace all that functionality. Just for an example, we were quoted a platform that would allow us to build out our bank operations, and it would take about 6 months to deploy. We didn't have that time, and we didn't have those resources. I discovered that Foundry was opening up to startups, and it was like manna from heaven. There was really no way that I could conceive of that we were going to get around this problem in a sustainable way.
After a few successful partnerships with these tech-powered companies, we realized that we should just be leaning into this and giving people the software and letting them run with it.
I told my team, who frankly didn't believe me, that I could replicate most, if not all of that functionality within Foundry myself and be able to do my day job. I was able to build out the ontology and to build out some actions that started us down the path to replicating full bank operations. I can now see granularly every step in the transaction, from any one buyer working through our transaction flow at a merchant's checkout to an aggregated level. Having that visibility has immediately allowed us to identify key areas of friction in that flow.
We're able to do pretty advanced and sophisticated business operations metrics and reporting in a few days, set that up in a few days, whereas I've seen this at larger organizations, it can take months or years to set up the level of sophistication of reporting we're able to do. Foundry accelerates our data component, it accelerates our operations, and allows us to provide really great services. We are now exploring using Foundry as actually a customer data platform instead of using some of the existing ones, just because it's a great source of truth.
Foundry is something, it represents a technical aspect of something that's very important to me, and that's putting almost infinitely scalable and lossless systems and processes in place at an early stage, approaching the problem in a really novel way and not just trying to compete.
If Foundry can help accelerate the delivery of their product and their solution and bring that to the world faster, that's what's really motivating. Founders are focused on this unique thing that they're attempting to build in the world, and Foundry is an accelerant to helping them achieve their mission faster.
So great to hear all of those founders and their feelings about Palantir Foundry for Builders getting this early access in the alumni cohort. And by saying is, you heard the mention of 0 to 1 there in the very beginning. And at this point, I'm thinking that Palantir Foundry for Builders really is much bigger in a sense that really is a much bigger deal than I initially realized, and certainly probably than most people initially realized. And I think it could be an enormous driver for growth in the future. Again, it really is going to be fairly difficult to further you go down the chain, down to smaller and smaller startups, the less of an ability they would have to pay for a Palantir subscription license for Foundry for Builders. But the counter argument there is that if Palantir is able to get in with these businesses, let's say only 10% of them succeed, so the other 90% is just a waste. Maybe they break even, maybe they don't on what they're providing Foundry for Builders for. But let's say the other 10 of these succeed drastically, and let's say we are open to everyone by now. So Palantir has hundreds, if not thousands, maybe on the very, very high end, probably under only hundreds though, if I'm being honest, of very, very successful startups that then go beyond and become small mid-cap companies. But Palantir has been with them from the beginning. They've started out with them and they've grown with them. This is a very critical thought here. Palantir not only gets to work with these companies to develop better use cases for its product. As you'll see, they've put up this whole website here, which is really great if you want to read through it. They also get to leverage that success. So the better their products allow their companies to perform, the better they perform in relation to those projects, or just financially speaking, of course. So while they may not be making big money on the Foundry for Builders contracts, if they even are contracts, they will be making enormous money the bigger these companies get. The bigger the contracts get, the more they can provide. So that's just how I see it. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I want to hear what you have to say. Hopefully this video was insightful. Until next time.